So I'm going to take some jute cord, some scraps of burlap, some scrapbook paper of whatever size, this little Dollar Tree wooden sign, and a thrifted frame. It used to have a picture of a cow on it, but I took the picture off with some fingernail polish remover. Now I'm going to take some of this chalkboard paint. It's black. I'm going to use it to go on the inside of this frame to make it a solid black background. So I'm just going to edge around here because I want to keep the outside of that galvanized frame showing. You don't have to. You can use whatever frame you want. If you have a frame that's a large enough frame to set your trick-or-treat sign down into, you can paint the entire thing black right over the glass if you choose, or you can spray paint it however you wish to do it. So I'm just going to do 2 good coats all the way around here. Alright, so I've removed the cord from my trick-or-treat wooden sign and placed it down on a piece of paper so that I can begin painting. I'm going to fill in these holes in the top first with some lightweight spackling from Dollar Tree and allow that to dry. This won't be hanging, so I won't need a hanger. It's just going to be glued down inside the frame. Alright, so you're going to see a switch in my paintbrushes here. I originally started off with this one, and it was still a bit too stiff from the last time I used it. If you don't close your plastic bag all the way up and get as much air as possible out of it, your brush will dry out. So I had to wash it and set it aside, and so I'm going to use this brush, which by the way I love. It came in a pack of 2, I think, from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to use my Rust-Oleum linen white chalk paint all over this sign. I'm going in the cracks and the corners so I get a solid white coverage. When it's drying, I am going to make the banner for the top. So I am just making a square and then cutting out triangles to use as a pattern for my fabric and my scrapbook paper. So you're just going to pick out whichever types of paper that you like. I think variety is a better look, but you can use whatever you want. You could use all of the burlap, or you could use burlap and checkerboard, or whatever you want to use. I've just chosen 3 different types of papers and then my burlap, and I'm going to cut out 2 of each one. The jute cord is going to be the rope that I glue everything onto. This is why it's good to hang on to scraps, because you never know what you might need it for. And this worked out great. Paper came from the little pads that come from Target, and I think that every year they have different designs in those little pads. Lay out your pattern the way that you like. Each one of those over one at a time, and put a bead of hot glue down the edge, and just make sure that it's tapped into place, and that's all you have to do for that. You can space them out. I have just a tiny bit of space between mine, or you can overlap them if you want, or you can leave a bigger space depending on the size of your triangles. And I'm going to use hot glue and a little bit of Fix-All, which is the Dollar Tree brand super glue. It's kind of a gel in a tube. And make sure I have it centered first, and then pop it into place. Hot glue will hold it until that Fix-All does what it needs to do. You're going to see me overlay this with a piece of cardboard and then put down my paint can on top to hold everything in place so it doesn't pop up. you can come in here and put your banner on the top. Now, because I made it big enough where it wouldn't be hanging, I just went ahead and glued it down on there. Just a dot of hot glue and a clamp until the glue has set up, and then I trimmed off my rope so it does hang over the edge just a little. I really felt like I needed something else here, so I went back and colored these pumpkins orange. So I used a orange with a dot of brown. This is burnt umber and pumpkin orange. They are acrylic paints. Mix those well together, and then I got a little flat edge brush and applied them carefully to my pumpkins. It's up to you. If you like a brighter orange, go ahead and just use the plain orange. So I'm just carefully going in there and making sure that I'm only getting the top surface. I'm not bothering going around the edges and all that, because it should just be too easy at this point to make a mistake and mess up my black background. So I'm just being sure to go and just tap that and put that on the top. Now I want to put the natural curves of a pumpkin in the bottom, so I'm just making some little curves here. You can make yours flat or whatever you want to do there. One solid curve, whatever. So now I have my little orange pumpkins with my white words. If you wanted to, you could go in there with a black marker or some black paint and separate your letters and separate the tops of the pumpkins and, you know, that sort of thing if you really wanted it to stand out more. Okay, so we're going to start off with some of these they were from Target last year. They're actually wrappers that go around drink bottles. So I've chosen this one. They come in a variety pack. Probably can find them this year too. And I've cut mine down already to show you that it's going to fit the size of this thrifted shadow box that I got from Goodwill. I'm going to use some double stick tape to easily put this down. You could use hot glue, but it's going to make it a mess if you decide to repurpose it. So a little bit of double stick tape will do the trick. Then I've got this thrifted frame that I knew I wanted to use for Halloween, and it fits perfectly over this box. Just a coincidence. I'm going to use popsicle sticks to help give some support to the box when it comes to putting on the frame and keeping it in place. Just using my little nippers here that of course came from Goodwill, and it looks like they were very loved at one time. They're stained, but they are clean. I'm going to use some hot glue and make sure our sticks are the same length and that they're the correct depth for the box and the frame. And then we're going to set the frame back on top. Make sure that it fits correctly. If it doesn't, just go ahead and snip off a little bit more. You can use a few dots of hot glue underneath the edge of the frame to hold it in place, but I am going to use this 3M black tape. It's like a duct tape, but it's black. Seems to be the right width, and I know that it'll have a good strong grip. Just going to use it on the bottom of the frame, and then I'm going to do the same thing up there on the top. See, I've just flipped it over there. Okay, do y'all remember this cat? This cat was from one of the first videos that I did, either the first or the second one. He's one that had a different face, and I painted him all black and then started over. And I painted that. Just use some hot glue and put him on the corner. Then I'm going to take some of this Dollar Tree ribbon. It is wired, and I'm going to make a bow with it. And it's also this orange that is sheer. It actually has like a spider web pattern. It's really pretty, or a crackle pattern. So the two look really, they look good together, I think. And then I'm just going to make my bow. I've got a 6-inch tail, pinching it. And I'm going to make about a 6-inch loop. Pinch it toward the center. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to flip it. And then there we go. I'll pinch toward the center. Just going to make sure my loops are even. Going to have a 6-inch tail. Going to make 2 6-inch loops. And they're all going to be stacked together. Just a little bit of fluffing. And get a good grip on the bow. And then we're going to add that tie there, the little zip tie. Now I'm just curling and fluffing again and deciding on placement, and I'm also going to dovetail, and I think I've also heard this being called fishtails, but I'm going to dovetail the ends, which is just cutting a V in the ends. Okay, for the center to cover up that tie, I'm going to fold a strip of that bow in thirds. Then I'm just going to wrap it around to the back, add some glue on the tied area, press it down, got my little finger protector on there, and then I'm going to fold the end up and glue it down. If you need to, go ahead and clip that off so that it's not sticking up on the top of your bow. Now I'm going to add some glue and secure my bow. Here's one of my laundry clips from the Dollar Tree. You can get those in, I think, a pack of 6. Some are white and some are blue. They're really handy for these thicker projects. Okay, so I've decided that my kitty cat down there deserved a little bit prettier of a bow, a little more festivity. So I've just taken a little scrap of this orange ribbon that came also from Dollar Tree. And I've used the jute to tie it in the middle. And I'll snip that off. It's just a little simple bow. Okay, so I've taken this little plastic spider and I'm just going to stick him down because I think he looks good on the webs, and going to fluff up that bow. Want to be sure that I'm curling the tails under, and I'm just doing that with my fingers. It's really easy to do. And so I've decided, since my paint, it doesn't have very good coverage here, to just take a chalk marker. It's either the chalk marker or metallic marker from Dollar Tree, and fill in over the original area that I painted to make that white pop a little bit better. And then when that is done, I'm going to take a black, it's actually a glass marker. It has got a great fine tip on it, so almost like a paintbrush tip. I love it. And I'm going to use that to trace out that area, and it really makes it look a lot better. This is a permanent marker also, and that looks much better, I think. Okay, so here it is without the light. Well, with the light still on, actually. But you can see behind the cat and up there toward the tail of that bow where the spider is, you can see that I have some little Dollar Tree flickering Halloween tea lights. In a minute, I'm going to show you what that looks like when we turn off the lights. The lights dimmed. Is that not the cutest thing ever? You could also use some of the little fairy string lights if you wanted to. Any way that you want to do it, but these do fit down in there. There's 2. There's one in the left bottom, and then there's one in the right bottom side, kind of behind the cat's head. Okay, to start with, I'm going to make the chain garland that's going to go around, and I'm just going to take 3 different kinds of ribbons and cut them into 4-inch strips. These came from, 2 of the ribbons came from Dollar Tree, and then the one with the little ghost and the boo over there, I think originally came from Target, and I believe that I got that at Dirt Cheap. We're not going to do anything special to the edges of this. We're not going to dovetail them or anything like that. Just cut them straight across. All right, so now we're going to start the chain. We're going to start with 1 loop. You can use any pattern that you like. I've got my little fingertips to protect my fingers from the glue. I got those from Dollar Tree in the crafter section. Just going to add a dot of glue, and then I'm overlapping maybe 1/4 of an inch, somewhere between 1/8 and 1/4 of an inch. I'm not gluing the chain to itself, I'm gluing each link. So there's some movement in there if you see that. So I have an orange, a black, and a white. And I've decided for my pattern that I want to have a black link between every one. So there'll be a black and a white and an orange, black, white, orange, sort of like that. Just be really careful with the glue. There's a lot of opportunities to burn your fingerprints off. I guess you could use a little mini stapler if you wanted to on this. It'd probably make it quicker, but then it also might snag on the other pieces of ribbon, and that's just a mess. I always have my glue gun over there. It's very easy for me to hook up, and every time I come down to craft, I go ahead and plug it in whether I think I need it or not. Abracadabra, there's the chain. And then I have a bow that I am making now, and these are in 6-inch strips. I did 3 of each of the same colors as the chain. Then I'm just going to stack these up. This is easy, you've seen this bow before. Got just a piece of twine here that was left over from something else. You're going to hold these firmly and bunch them together. If you don't hold them tight, they're just going to stack and you're going to lose your shape. So hold them tight and then kind of squinch them up together in your fingers. All right, so I'm making my tie. See, I'm going to hold that with my index finger, and there you go. Now the bow can be pulled apart and fluffed out a little bit. I don't know if you actually call this a bow. Is this a bow? I don't know. I think it's a bow. Okay, so next I'm just getting my other little things I want to use as ornaments, and I have some of these little pumpkins left out of this pack. I believe were originally from Target. And here are my 2 white Christmas trees. Yes, they are Christmas trees. If you use one, it is going to be very sparse. So we're going to put 2 together. I'm going to show you how to do that the easiest way I can imagine. I've seen people put them together at the same time and fluff them out, but nope, I think this was easier. It worked better with the way I think. So you're going to leave it flat on one side, and you're going to fluff everything out and upward. So see, I have it laying flat, and everything is going to come up. All right, and we're going to do the next one. Leaving one side flat and everything coming up and out. Now you have 2 halves of the tree flat on one side, so you can easily put them together. So I'm going to use my zip ties to do this. See, there's the flat sides, and look there. Look at that full tree. Yes, $2 at Dollar Tree. There you go. You can also use this same idea for Christmas. Gonna zip tie in 3 places. Gonna do the middle, and then you'll see me do the top and toward the bottom, or what would be the trunk area. You're gonna trim off your excess. These are white zip ties, and you really don't even see them in the tree. They just kind of disappear after you get them in that white tree. I don't want this to fall over or fall apart, so you know, maybe you don't need as many ties as I use, but you know, you do you. Okay, so one of these trees are a little bit longer than the other one, so I have enough room to put it back on the base. And I'm just gonna sit it down in there, and yep, I like that. I think that'll work. So, I'm gonna add lights to the tree. These lights I've had for a long time. I don't even know originally where they came from. You can get these at Dollar Tree. You can get all kinds of cute ones with bats and skeletons and pumpkins. You do whatever you like to do. Be sure that you test them before you put them on your tree though, because it's a pain in the behind to have to take them all back off. You want to put the lights in first because you don't want to have anything else interfere with your lights. Then I'm going to put the chain on. I could have made the chain a lot longer and it would have been a lot thicker, but that is not what I was going for, so you know. Alright, these little pumpkins have a hole in the bottom. I'm cutting pieces of a chenille stem that is also orange and just a little hot glue and putting that right in the bottom. I'm going to twist these onto the tree, but you can also hot glue directly onto the tree, and you'll see that here shortly. So I'm going to space these out around the tree and just twist them on and push them down on the branch so they sit still. Okay, these are some picks that I had, some type of a decorative pick. I just cut the little fluff off. They're kind of, I would say glittery, but they have some shiny, spiky areas, and they look really cute. And then here is some table scatter or vase filler from Dollar Tree. You get a ton in that bag. They are glittery. There's a little fallout, but it's not too bad. And I just want to put those directly onto the tree. Just a little dot on the bottom. And if you need to, and you're sloppy with your glue, you use too much glue maybe, you want to use those little pink fingertips again to protect yourself, because it will get hot and burn you if you're not careful. So we're just going to keep going like this around the tree, putting the little orange ones on, putting the little black ones on. You can go further into your tree. You can put them further out on the limb, however you want to do that. Just fill it in to your heart's desire. I also have these little witches hats that I used in another project. They're stickers. They came from Dollar Tree. I just added a few little dots of, well, those little table scatters on there. And then I'm putting a little glue on the bottom and just holding it so it will dry on the branch. Now I'm going to make some little squigglies for the top. I'm out of frame here, but I'm going to put some steel shots in so you can see what these are being used for. So it's a chenille stem. I wrapped it around the pick. I'm pulling it out a little bit, and then it is going to go on the top where our bow went. So if you look up to the top corner there, you can see these sticking out the top. I'm going to make another orange one, and then I'm going to make 2 black ones. You just use a little hot glue and stick it to your bow. So I've looked around my tree and I see a couple little spots that need a little extra, so I'm just adding to it. Now I want to make a pretty base, so I'm using this bucket from the Dollar Tree. I am using this foam block, maybe from the Dollar Tree. I'm not sure where it came from. I'm just going to glue this down, and then I've taken a floral stem and just bent it over like a bobby pin or a hairpin, sticking it through the little hole there in the tree base and holding it down until that glue dries. I'm just going to leave it there. I'm going to take some leftover paper that's just actually brown packing paper that came with something we ordered, I think with my Grove, and then 2 Halloween scarves from Dollar Tree. I'm going to put those inside. Now I want to do a little something extra to that bucket, so I'm going to take some of this mesh that also came from Dollar Tree. I'm I'm gonna cut it long enough to tie it to make a pretty little bow. And actually, once I started tying it, I realized you don't even need a bow. It'll curl back on itself and it looks like you've already put some effort into a bow. This is our final result. This thing is so cute and better than I imagined that it would be. I absolutely love it. Who's excited for Halloween? Give me a big thumbs up. I want to hear it. Comment below so far, what is your favorite Halloween project that we have done on my channel? Be sure you subscribe because I have more coming. Okay, so I have a thrifted 10-inch wreath. I think you can get something similar to this at Dollar Tree, if not the same thing. And I'm gonna have 3 different pieces of coordinating fabrics. These are, I think, just cotton fabric. And if you just start with a little snip, you can just tear a straight line all the way up your fabric. So these pieces are somewhere around an inch a piece wide and about 18 to 20 inches long. And it takes absolutely no special skill to make this wreath. It is easy but colorful and festive and the cutest thing for Halloween. So we're gonna do the same thing with the other 2 patterns. So I have black with orange polka dots, white with orange with white polka dots, and then I have another pattern that you will see in just a minute. So I'm just taking these, removing some of the loose threads. I'm going to put it under and pull it through the loop. You can just pull on it a little bit and it'll tighten it up around there. No need to use any glue for that. So you'll see later that you can see some of the green foam when I make the wreath. If you want this to be completely not seen at all, you can either paint your wreath form first, or you can put your strips closer together, which would require more strips. And I did not count ahead of time, so yeah, I can't give you those numbers. But you just keep tearing your scraps until you get enough. And if you don't have enough, then you just keep tearing once you get some of your pieces already on there. Okay, so the other pattern is the orange and white harlequin. And I'm just gonna alternate with black in between the orange and white pieces. When I lay this down on the table and I lay it in half, I am sure to have the back side of the fabric is what you see, and I put it through, and then the pretty side is on the outside. Simple, nothing to it. You're just gonna keep doing this. There's my little witch friend. You're gonna keep doing this until you get it as full as you like. You can let those bands overlap one another, or you can give them a little more space, whichever one you like. Okay, so here is the full wreath, and you can see some green showing through there. That doesn't bother me at all, not one bit. As a matter of fact, once you get to playing around with the strips of fabric enough, you can just about cover the entire thing. See how you just slip them around because they're not glued? You can just move them down, and I think it looks cute. Nothing is perfect. There's some pieces of thread sticking out. Some pieces are longer than others, but that's great. It's rustic, it's country, and it's the style that I like. Okay, so now we want to put some embellishments on it, and I usually cut this part out during editing, but I want you to see my thought process and see what your options could be. The jack-o'-lantern and this bat were both pieces that were broken off of a Target Bullseye Playground stake from last year. And I just sanded the backs down, and so those would be 2 pieces that could be options to put on here, and I of course chose the bat. I think he coordinates nicely. And then this is also one of those things from Target. And then from the Dollar Tree, they have these metal signs that you could use. And these can also be painted, so that makes it even better if you want to coordinate your colors. So I'm just getting an idea of what might look cute, what I might like. And finally, I have decided that yes, the spirit lane is the sign that I want on this wreath. So I'm just gonna put it down with some hot glue. You could use pipe cleaners if you wanted, or any other way that you want to fix it on there, but this is what works for me today. Glittery spheres of different shapes, well, different sizes. And there's some little bitty black ones, and I'm going to use those to cover up the holes on the ends of these signs. It's almost like a little street sign. But they're barely noticeable once you get the sign, once you get the wreath hanging up. But there it is, cute as can be. If you're new, I hope you subscribe and come back and see more content. You'll be notified if you do subscribe and hit the little bell. Give me a like if you're enjoying these Halloween videos. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you again real soon. Bye.